रक्षा के क्षेत्र में हमने सैन्य संबंधों के साथ साथ रक्षा उद्योगों को भी बल देने पर सहमति जताई। आज हमने आतंकवाद और साइबर सिक्योरिटी के क्षेत्र में आपसी सहयोग पर भी चर्चा की। हमने तय किया कि हमारे राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा सलाहकारों के स्तर पर भी बातचीत का एक संस्थागत प्लेटफॉर्म होना चाहिए। प्रधानमंत्री जी और मैं सहमत हैं कि हमारा द्विपक्षीय व्यापार तेजी से बढ़ रहा है और आगे भी बढ़ोतरी की अपार संभावनाएं हैं। इसलिए हमने वर्ष 2030 तक अपने द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को 2 गुना करने का लक्ष्य तय किया है। आज अभी कुछ देर में प्रधानमंत्री जी एक बिजनेस मीटिंग की मेजबानी करेंगे। इसमें हम कुछ विशिष्ट क्षेत्रों पर दोनों देशों के बिजनेस प्रतिनिधियों के साथ चर्चा करेंगे। हमारा मत है कि हम अपने देशों के बीच व्यापार और निवेश को प्रोत्साहित कर अपने उद्योग और आर्थिक सहयोग को एक नए स्तर पर ले जा सकते हैं। आज कृषि क्षेत्र में सहयोग के लिए एक एग्रीमेंट पर हस्ताक्षर किए गए। इस एग्रीमेंट से हम कृषि और बीज उत्पादन के साथ साथ रिसर्च, पशुपालन और पशुधन उत्पादन के क्षेत्र में भी सहयोग कर सकते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, दोनों देशों के बीच स्किल्ड माइग्रेशन को सुगम बनाने के लिए हमने जल्द ही एक माइग्रेशन एंड मोबिलिटी पार्टनरशिप एग्रीमेंट करने का निर्णय लिया। हमारा मानना है कि अपने प्राचीन पीपल टू पीपल संबंधों को नया रूप देने के लिए हमें सहयोग बढ़ाना चाहिए। हम अपने शिक्षण संस्थानों के बीच सांस्कृतिक और शैक्षणिक आदान प्रदान को बढ़ावा देंगे। फ्रेंड्स, हमने राष्ट्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मुद्दों पर भी चर्चा की। ग्रीस ने इंडिया ईयू ट्रेड और इन्वेस्टमेंट एग्रीमेंट पर अपना समर्थन प्रकट किया। यूक्रेन के मामले में दोनों देश डिप्लोमेसी और डायलॉग का समर्थन करते हैं। संयुक्त राष्ट्र और अन्य अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंचों पर ग्रीस के सहयोग के लिए मैंने उनका धन्यवाद किया। भारत की G20 की अध्यक्षता को लेकर प्रधानमंत्री जी की शुभकामनाओं और प्रोत्साहन के लिए मैं उनका आभारी हूं। फ्रेंड्स, मैं हेलेनिक रिपब्लिक के लोगों और राष्ट्रपति जी का हार्दिक धन्यवाद करता हूं कि आज उन्होंने मुझे ग्रैंड क्रॉस ऑफ द ऑर्डर ऑफ ऑनर ने उससे सम्मानित किया। 140 करोड़ भारतीयों की ओर से मैंने यह पुरस्कार स्वीकार किया और अपना आभार व्यक्त किया। भारत और ग्रीस के साझा मूल्य हमारी लंबी और भरोसेमंद पार्टनरशिप का आधार है। लोकतंत्र के मूल्यों और आदर्शों को स्थापित करने और उन्हें सफल रूप से प्रचलित करने में दोनों देशों का ऐतिहासिक योगदान है। मुझे विश्वास है कि भारतीय और ग्रीको रोमन कला के सुंदर मिश्रण से बने गांधार स्कूल ऑफ आर्ट की तरह भारत और ग्रीस की मित्रता भी समय की शिला पर अपनी अमिट छाप छोड़ेगी। एक बार फिर ग्रीस के इस खूबसूरत और ऐतिहासिक शहर में आज मुझे और मेरे डेलीगेशन को जो आदर सत्कार मिला, उसके लिए मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी और ग्रीस के लोगों का हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Very good. So Well, you heard from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is in Greece. He's spoken about the fact that he's thankful for, the honor that has been conferred upon him by the Greek president. We'll continue to keep a very close eye on all of those developments, as far as this visit, the first in 40 years of the Indian Prime Minister, is concerned. With that, it's time for a quick commercial break, and news continues in just a bit.
You are watching India Today.
There's never been a G20 presidency like this. I have covered several G20 events, traveled for those, and we've kind of set a new bar with all the dhol and the tamasha and the serious work that we have done. The fact that we will have this event happen here also provides for an opportunity where people are able to talk freely and generate ideas, which is what precisely this entire event is going to be all about.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
On the question of the Bharat Jodo Yatra and people's perception of it, has the Bharat Jodo Yatra improved the perception around Rahul Gandhi? Here are the responses in this poll. 44% of the sample said that Rahul Gandhi's perception has improved as a result of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. 33% saying it's the same, 13% say it's worsened. So what's clear as day Rachingappa is that the Bharat Jodo Yatra has salvaged a reputation which was pretty much in the political dust. So he's come back to some extent. Now, whether you think he's rising like a phoenix or it'll still just be, a bonsai and won't really become a full big banyan tree, you can play around with different kinds of metaphors and analogies, but that's the reality. You're seeing the glass is half empty or half full.
Well, let's look at this way, that as you rightly said, he was down in the dumps, and he has certainly, very innovatively, let's give him credit for it, and the fact that he walked all this distance across and raised issues of concern to the country. He has, in many senses, matured, reinvented.
You are watching India Today.
And we have some news breaking at this hour. This is a big declaration by US on right to India, where US ambassador said the 2611 plotter is now to be extradited back to India soon. After a US court stayed the extradition of Thakur Rana, the envoy has said that he is confident of 2611 plotter's extradition. Garcetti says the government is going to respond in court in the month of November. Remember, Biden administration appeal has been overridden by the US court as far as the extradition in the case of Thakur Rana is concerned.
years and counting. Will he be extradited? Home Minister Amit Shah said it on the floor of the House in Parliament that we are looking at an extradition, but a US court stayed the extradition.
That wasn't unexpected, and I'll let the legal process play out. But we've had great cooperation. In years past, we didn't always cooperate closely enough, and sometimes those extraditions didn't occur or cases didn't go forward because this is an unprecedented era of Indian law enforcement and American law enforcement working together on counterterrorism, drugs, gangs, other things where they've worked really well together, but we hadn't always. Now it's a new day. And so we've always thought it was likely it would go to the final court. That will happen, I think, October. His lawyers give the argument in November. Our government will respond, and we do believe that people need to pay the price, and we do believe in this extradition.
And you're confident that it'll happen?
You know, I'm not in the courts, but I would be surprised if it doesn't.
Press editor Geeta Mohan, who in fact did that interview, is also with us. Geeta, the idea here is to send out the message that as far as the US is concerned, there is an intent, but the fact of the matter is that legally speaking, this isn't really going to be very easy. The matter is going to come up in court in the month of November again.
Well, absolutely not easy, but certainly the lack of intent in the past as opposed to the intent that we're seeing today clearly will make a huge difference, not just in courts, but also in the fact that the ambassador, in no uncertain words, Neha said that those who have done such deeds will have to pay for their actions. And India and the American side are intent. There is a cooperation between the FBI and Delhi police that's ongoing and continued. So the fact that the government's recommendation is on the lines that extradition should take place is something that India is hopeful for and hopeful about. And come November, we will see what really is going to happen in America. But the envoy of America to India, quite confident that Tahawwur Rana will face the courts here in India.
And what is the kind of response that you see from India as far as this is concerned over the extradition? How optimistic are they really, given that this has been pending for years together now? Geeta.
Neha, the Indian side also quite optimistic and confident. None other than Home Minister Amit Shah said it on the floor of the House. So anybody below that who is working on Tahawwur Rana extradition knows that when the confidence comes from the topmost leadership of the country, Home Minister himself saying that Tahawwur Rana will be extradited, there is more than meets the eye when it comes to cooperation between India and the United States of America, particularly on the front of terrorism and these masterminds in the 26/11 attacks.
I'm going to ask you, Geeta, to be with us because we're coming back to you for more developments. And this again has got to do with China, with the country seeking peace with India. Ministry of External Affairs sources have told us that China requested talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and not vice versa. A source from the External Affairs Ministry has said that China requested a formal talk with the Prime Minister. However, their meeting was informal. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was spotted having a brief exchange of words with the Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the 15th BRICS Summit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi conveyed to the Chinese President about India's concerns on the unresolved issues along the line of actual control in the eastern Ladakh sector. The meeting comes less than 2 weeks from the G20 summit, which will be held in New Delhi.
In a conversation with President Xi Jinping of China, Prime Minister highlighted India's concerns on the unresolved issues along the LAC in the western sector of the India-China border areas. Prime Minister underlined that the maintenance of peace and tranquility in the border areas and observing and respecting the LAC are essential for the normalization of the India-China relationship. In this regard, the two leaders agreed to direct their relevant officials to intensify efforts at expeditious disengagement and de-escalation.
The India-China bilateral talks took place, pull aside an informal conversation, but on the ground we've not seen major breakthrough. How is the United States of America looking at Chinese aggression at the borders with India?
Well, we're India's friend, and we're here to support.
कि जुनैद नसीर को राजस्थान से किडनैप करके हरियाणा ले जाकर उनको जिंदा जला दिया गया और उसमें से आज भी कई आरोपी एक्यूज को गिरफ्तार नहीं किया गया और जो एस ग्रेशिया मिलना चाहिए था, कन्हैया लाल की जो मौत हुई, कत्ल हुआ, जिसका हमने कंडेम किया, उसमें 55 लाख दिए गए और जुनैद नसीर में आपने सिर्फ 5 लाख रुपए दिए और गवर्नमेंट नौकरी नहीं दी। ये कौन सा इंसाफ है बताइए आप? इंसान की जान की कीमत क्या अलग हो जाती है क्या नाम की बुनियाद पर या मजहब की बुनियाद पर? इंसान इंसान होता है।
सर, चंद्रयान के बारे में, चंद्रयान गया है तो अभी इसरो के साइंटिस्ट को श्रेय जाता है, लेकिन देख रहे हैं कि पिछले
The India-China bilateral talks took place, a pull-aside, an informal conversation, but on the ground we've not seen major breakthrough. How is the United States of America looking at Chinese aggression at the borders with India?
Well, we're India's friend, and we're here to support India as we have in past, whether it's the border or other places strategically that India asks for our help. And we engage with China as well. But we will not sell our principles, and you don't sell your principles for those engagements. We want good relations with China. We want stability in those relationships. But as your own leaders have said, there are certain lines, both literal and figurative, that need to be dealt with, and we're incredibly supportive of that. We never look at engagement as a bad thing. That's for two countries other than us to do, but we support that, and we support our friend in any way that they need.
केवल एक शंका रहती है, आज ही नहीं, पिछले 40-50 साल से चीन के साथ हमारा जो भी कूटनीतिक अनुभव रहा है वो ये रहा है कि चीन की बातों को हम कभी पूरा विश्वास नहीं कर सकते। वो कहते कुछ हैं और फिर जाकर करते कुछ और हैं। कई बार ये हुआ है कि एक चर्चा कर आए, किसी देश को कोई चीज का अंदेशा दिया, वापस अपने देश गए, उसका बिल्कुल विपरीत किया। तो मैं यही आशा करूंगा कि चीन जो है अगर कोई बातें करता है या किसी चीज में पहल की अपनी तरफ से पहल करता है तो वो उसके सच्ची में, चाहे बॉर्डर का मसला हो चाहे ट्रेड का मसला हो, वो उनकी नीतियों में भी दिखेगा।
Geeta continues to be with us. Geeta, more than the substance of the talks and what really can be the low-hanging fruit herein, the conversation seems to have steered towards who really initiated the talks. I think the trust deficit in that sense also continues, and this after 19 rounds of co-commander level talks, isn't it?
Well, that's right. It's ironical that when it comes to perception of the line of actual control, India and China have differing views. Even in terms of the process involved in initiating talks, India and China have differing views. The Chinese side in their statement said that Prime Minister Modi initiated the talks or proposed a talk. And on the other side, sources in the Indian government have said that it was the Chinese side that had first requested for a formal dialogue, a bilateral dialogue. However, Sneha, this was not a bilateral structured dialogue. It was a mere pull-aside, and the substance of the pull-aside is seen in what has come out in the statement, that both sides reiterated their stand, but on the ground, will the pullback happen ahead of the G20? That's the big question.
Geeta, I'm going to thank you for getting us up to speed with that, a Foreign Affairs editor, with that detailed report on what really transpired in that brief pull-aside. Politics, meanwhile, is speaking over the LAC standoff issue. As we discussed, the Prime Minister is talking tough in Johannesburg on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit. Rahul Gandhi has once again raked up the LAC matter and accused the Prime Minister of misleading the country over the border situation. He alleged that China has taken over Indian land. Meanwhile, BJP has accused Congress of helping China during the Nehru regime. Take a look.
लद्दाख एक स्ट्रेटेजिक जगह है और यहां आने पर, खासतौर से जब मैं पैंगोंग लेक में था, तो एक बात बिल्कुल साफ है कि चाइना ने हिंदुस्तान की जमीन ली है। हजारों किलोमीटर जमीन हिंदुस्तान की चाइना ने हमसे छीनी है। और दुख की बात है कि हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री ने ऑपोजिशन की मीटिंग में कहा कि हिंदुस्तान का 1 इंच किसी ने नहीं लिया है। यह सरासर झूठ है। लद्दाख का हर व्यक्ति इस बात को जानता है कि लद्दाख की जमीन चाइना ने हिंदुस्तान से ली है और प्रधानमंत्री जी सच नहीं बोल रहे हैं।
श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हमारी सरकार आने के बाद आप जाकर चेक कर सकते हैं, 2020 में बीजिंग के एक थिंक टैंक ने, जो वहां की गवर्नमेंट से रिलेटेड माना जाता है, उसने यह शब्द प्रयोग किया है कि चाइना इज पासिंग थ्रू इट्स वर्स्ट डिप्लोमेटिक आइसोलेशन पोस्ट तियानमेन स्क्वायर, यानी थियानयान चौक के नरसंहार के बाद के दौर के सबसे बुरे कूटनीतिक अलग थलग पड़ने की स्थिति में चीन है। परंतु, और यह हम नहीं कह रहे हैं, ये वहां के लोग कह रहे हैं, परंतु मुझे समझ में नहीं आता है कि राहुल गांधी जी को बार बार चीन की बातों पर इतना प्यार क्यों उमड़ आता है। ये राजीव गांधी फाउंडेशन को मिले हुए दान का एहसान है या चीन की कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी के साथ हुए करार का इकरार है कि बार बार वो भारत सरकार से तकरार करने को तैयार रहते हैं।
Congress MP Rahul Gandhi has stirred a hornet's nest during his trip to Ladakh a few days ago. With Gandhi went all guns blazing against the BJP and said that Muslims and the people of Manipur are under attack in India. Further, he went on to say that the BJP-led central government and its policies, its actions have hurt the minorities and the poor the most. Sending out assurances, Gandhi added that Congress plans to make India a fair and inclusive place for all communities. Quick to react, the BJP has made a scathing counter-attack, claiming that it is the Congress party that is responsible for the situation in Manipur. BJP also said that it was Indira Gandhi who used the Indian Air Force to bomb Mizoram in 1966. Meanwhile, Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh on Thursday met Union Minister Amit Shah and briefed him about the prevailing situation in the rest of state.
Muslims are under attack in India. This is not wrong. But you must also realize that there are many other people also under attack in India. Okay? Please look at what is going on in Manipur today. For 4 months, Manipur has been burning. Right? So you must not think that you are the only people under attack. No. All sorts of... Yeah, it is happening. Of course it is happening. But it is happening to Muslims, it is happening to other minorities, it is happening to Dalits, it is happening to tribals, right? Because it is the attitude and the approach of the BJP. And this is something we are committed to fighting.
राहुल गांधी तो मणिपुर भी गए थे। ऐसा तो है नहीं कि मणिपुर के जाने के बाद वो लद्दाख नहीं जा सकते। मणिपुर गए, वहाँ लोगों से मिले, विक्टिम से मिले, और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की यह आदत हो गई है कि हर वो बुरा काम जो होता है उनके राज में वो कांग्रेस करती है। दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, मणिपुर में जो कुछ हो रहा है इसके लिए भारत सरकार और मणिपुर की सरकार जिम्मेदार है।
जहां तक मुस्लिम समुदाय की या माइनॉरिटीज की बात है, लगातार सतत उन पर जो है गैर संवैधानिक और गैर कानूनी हमले होते रहे हैं। उनके कुछ लोग लिंच हुए हैं, कुछ राइट्स में बढ़ोतरी हुई है, उनके साथ द्वेष का व्यवहार लोगों में बढ़ा है। मुसलमानों को लेकर, इस्लाम को लेकर, मुसलमान लोगों की आदतों को लेकर उनको सॉर्ट ऑफ प्रो पाकिस्तान एंटी इंडियन दिखाने की कोशिशें बहुत की जा रही हैं, जिससे एक माहौल बनता है किसी भी समुदाय के खिलाफ। और ये तो कोई इस बात को मना नहीं कर सकता कि ये माहौल नहीं बना है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोग तो चाहते हैं ऐसा माहौल बने, तो वो तो इस बात को डिनाई नहीं करेंगे।
राहुल गांधी जी के ही परिवारजन थे,